Welcome back, everyone. Now, please welcome from KeyBank, Matt Nipper.
Thank you, Dustin. On behalf of KeyBank, we're elated to continue our support for this conference and shine a spotlight on the region's manufacturing sector. That's because at Key, we understand that we are only as strong as our local community, and manufacturing is still a vital part of Northeast Ohio and our economy. So let's meet the next group of honorees. Our final honoree is Talon Products. Talon's evolution curve has been continuous for its 34 years, staying on the metal stamping industry's cutting edge. The company has increased onshoring as U.S. manufacturers have been further evaluating their offshore supply of component parts due to the effects of COVID-19 shutting down long supply lines. To best compete, Talon is focused on what makes the company the best value supplier of its products, being efficient. The company has identified areas to reduce or remove labor costs, such as the handling of incoming raw material and minimizing material movement. Talon's efficiency, measured by its sales per employee, is at the top of its industry, more than 3 times the industry average. By reducing labor hours from the process of manufacturing parts, Talon Products maintains a well-compensated U.S. workforce while being globally competitive. Congratulations, Talon Products. With that, let's learn a little bit more about Talon. I'm here with Steve Peplin at Talon Products, and I'm going to ask a few questions about just some of the enhancements and changes they've made over the years. So, with that, one of the questions I have for you, Steve, is what are some of the changes you made to Talon over the years to be a low-cost provider for your clients, yet remain in the cutting edge of the industry?
One of the interesting things that we implemented this year was an entrepreneur operating system, which is it's basically a management system and a formal strategic planning system. We've always had strategic planning systems, and it seems like they evolve as a company evolves, and over the years we've had a few different systems. But this one really clicked. It's really worked well for us. And recently I ran into an investment banker, and we were not talking about selling Talon, but we were just having discussions about the valuation of companies. And this guy said that he felt that if a company was using an entrepreneur operating system, it made them more valuable in his eyes, that they have formal strategic planning, a formal management system. Another thing that we always do is, in manufacturing, it's all about measurements. What gets measured gets improved. So it's all about the metrics. Our metrics are stellar. They're literally world class. Once our ISO auditor told us, he said, you guys can legitimately claim you're world class. Your PPM, which is our parts per million of product that escape, that you're basically your default rate, He said, you guys have a world class quality metrics. But we also know that our other metrics are world class, like the turnover is half we benchmark against the industry. So our turnover is half the average. We spend 3 times as much on education. Our on-time delivery is 99.5%. So we know that we're a real high performers because we benchmark.
That's great. Yeah, I've always had the adage of knowledge is power, and so when you have that knowledge, you can obviously make course corrections in order to enhance the business.
Yeah, you're always tweaking it. It's never a stable. You're never solving last year's problems. You're solving the new problems. And it's never ending. We're always growing too. And I mean, this wasn't a growth award. This is a beauty contest, which I love that. We're always also growing. We're always growing the top line or the bottom line, or our capacity or our skills. We're always growing in some form. It's not always just top line growth, because how it goes. It goes up, and it's erratic. It's not just a smooth line. But we're definitely a growth oriented company.
Absolutely. I will say, Steve, this is a question I've asked a number of companies over the course of the past year. How did you at Talon pivot during COVID to make sure that you were staying true to your philosophy about safety first?
Yeah, well, obviously you've seen our values. Our core values is safety, collaboration, tenacity, and respect. And then we have behaviors on the charts that show the values. We have behaviors that support those values, so everybody knows what we mean. It's not just a word. There's a lot of meaning behind every value. Safety is always first. So as far as COVID, I mean, obviously this went right to our core value of safety. So the fact that we live our values and we roll them out through the whole company turned out to be pretty critical in establishing all the safety protocols. We've also, in a stamping plant, we're a metal stamper. There's a potential for accidents to be catastrophic. So it's very important that we have a really urgent safety attitude. So we often take a belt and suspenders approach to safety. It's not a cost first issue. It's a what's the safest way to do something. So we implemented everything, and I'm really proud of my team. My guys, I can't say that I can't take credit for this. I just kind of went to the meetings, and our team just really got the bone in their mouth and just got it done. And we did everything. We did the remote work. Within a couple of days, our whole office was working remote. Of course, we're a factory, so you can't have a virtual workforce in a factory. You have to really be there. So, but we did distancing, remote work for people who could. We checked temperatures. We implemented a no travel and no visitors policy. We have we followed all the guidelines of quarantining, contact tracing. We've never had any outbreak at the factory.
Wow.
We have had people who, because of contact tracing, we were able to determine where they got it. We've had a number of our employees get sick, and but when we did the contact tracing, they always got it somewhere else. But then, because if somebody was in contact within 15 minutes over, I think, 24 hours, cumulative time of 15 minutes, then you have to quarantine them. So we've had some pretty, important people had to quarantine, some supervisors that you really want there. But these are the people who are traveling through the whole company, talking to everybody. Yeah. So if they were going to be sick, it would have been catastrophic because they would have been super spreaders. And we have the signage and the cleaning and disinfecting. So the one thing about COVID that really is, there's a lot of horrible things about it. Of course, everybody getting sick and dying, there's that. But you can't see your customers, and that's kind of traumatic for the sales staff, and including me, who's, kind of the face of the company. But my competitors can't go see my customers either. So that was the part that makes it, I'm not okay, but at least it makes me sleep at night that you're kind of locked in, people aren't out there taking visits from other people trying to steal my customers. Now we're also looking at two new things: HEPA filters and CO2 monitors. The CO2 monitoring is kind of tricky, but basically you try to reduce the fact that you're breathing somebody else's air, So that's just at the very beginning.
So Steve, it sounds like you guys had an immediate pivot, but on top of that, as you talked about earlier, you could continue to evolve in what you've been doing to try, to stay efficient during COVID.
Yeah, we had a record year. At the beginning of the year, we were doing stress tests and pro formas that showed us down 20, 30, 50%. We were really prepared for a disaster, and we ended up having a record year. Like they say, it's a K-shaped recovery. Mm-hmm. We're definitely in the top leg. We're not in hospitality. We're in, like we make building products. We're manufacturers. So.
Yeah, that's fantastic news how well you rebounded from it. And, I will tell you, touching on what you said earlier, I do agree. I think one of the hardest things that we've had to deal with as well is not seeing our customers. And so it's just been a real challenge, and you do miss that human interaction. I would say, just kind of, last question here as we're wrapping it up. I know that, you as a company have been looking at emerging technology markets such as solar and lightweight products. Could you talk about the move in that direction and like what it means for Talon's future?
Yeah, we always aimed at disruptive markets. We started in single ply roofing, and 35, 40 years ago, single ply roofing came over from Europe, and it was kind of the new wave of commercial roofing. It was 8% of a $25 billion market. Today, it's 80% of a $35 billion market. So wow. We grew. We got in bed with all that industry, and we became part of it, and we grew with it. We kind of grew up with the industry. Then we also we targeted LED lighting. 10 years ago, LED lighting was just really in its infancy. If you go to the lighting show, there was LED, there was all different kinds. There's 8 different kinds of platforms to create light. But now LED lighting, they might as well call the industry show the LED show because that's like the predominant lighting system. Went from 0 to $100 billion industry in about 7 years. I don't have to tell you about solar. You know how big solar is. Well, 10 years ago, it wasn't anything like this. It was really small. We got into it in the real early days. So one of our core strategies was to diversify into a few high growth disruptive industries. Now we just got a big contract for an electric truck, for make components for an electric truck, a major brand name that you'd recognize. And so. If you get into an industry that the industry is growing exponentially, It makes you look good. It makes us look smart. You know, we hitch our wagon to a really good, strong horse. We couple that with the roofing industry and the building products industry, which is kind of mundane and stable. So we have a real core platform that we can always count on. It's almost recession-proof. It is pretty much recession-proof. Nobody ever wanted to put a commercial roof on their building. They have to. So we couple the high growth part of the business, we temper it with the stable part that's always going to be there.
That's great. Yeah, Steve. So, a couple things as we close here. Number one, congratulations again on being a multi-year award winner at Talon. And, I look forward to potentially you and I seeing each other in person someday down the road, kind of, in a better COVID environment.
Thank you, Matt. I look forward to that too. And it's quite an honor to win this award. We're really, every year we don't apply every year, but when we apply, we always think, wow, have we done enough new stuff? I mean, have we truly evolved? And I guess we did.
Yeah, well, especially in light of all the challenges in 2020, you certainly did. So congratulations.
Yeah, you had to evolve this year. It's adapt or die.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So it was good seeing you here virtually, and I look forward to seeing you in person down the road.
Thanks, Matt. Me too.
Thanks.